Bugatti said it couldn't be done. A YouTuber named Mat Armstrong decided otherwise, and the fallout reached all the way to the top of the company. Alex G. was driving his Bugatti Chiron per Sport through Miami, one of only 6 he ever built, and a car with a $4 million price tag that reflects its status as a showcase of extreme engineering. Then a delivery truck pulled out in front of him. The resulting collision was minor by ordinary standards, but the Chiron's front end was smashed and its airbags fired, turning a supercar into an expensive piece of scrap sitting in a Florida garage. Bugatti doesn't take chances with its reputation. The factory sent an inspector from France to assess the wreck, not to plan a repair, but to decide whether the car should exist at all. Their answer was uncompromising: total loss, and the vehicle's identification number was flagged in Bugatti's global system, meaning no authorized dealer anywhere could sell so much as a screw for that chassis. Then came the real gut punch. The factory's quote to bring the car back to their standard, which required shipping it to their workshop in Motium, ran to roughly $1.7 million. The grille alone was priced near $93,000, and each headlight assembly cost about $58,000. It read like a deliberate deterrent. Bugatti's way of making sure a damaged car never returns the road wearing their badge. Meanwhile, Alex was still making payments of nearly $90,000 a month on a car he wasn't legally permitted to repair. That should have been the end of it. But British YouTuber Mat Armstrong, known for reviving supercars other people had given up on, saw the ban not as a wall, but as a challenge. He flew to Miami, convinced the unrepairable verdict had more to do with protecting profit margins than protecting safety. Once he examined the car himself, the scale of the problem became clear. The crash had shoved the drivetrain forward just slightly, but that small shift had cracked a structural mounting bracket, a component Bugatti insisted couldn't be fixed without swapping the entire rear structure. Matt was looking at a puzzle the manufacturer claimed had no solution. Digging into the official parts list only deepened Matt's suspicion. A set of headlights ran about $174,000, more than a new Porsche 911. Each fender was priced near $200,000, and the small horseshoe-shaped grille alone cost close to $100,000. All told, parts came to over $1.7 million before labor was even factored in. It was obvious this pricing structure existed to keep control over who could touch these cars. Bugatti's position was simple: send it to France or it never becomes official again. That's the so-called Hypercar tax. You're not just paying for materials, you're paying for the name. Matt had one advantage, though. Bugatti sits under the Volkswagen Group umbrella alongside brands like Audi and Bentley. As he started disassembling the car, he noticed something telling. Many of the small sensors and connectors bore part numbers matching cheaper VW Group vehicles. He even spotted a starter motor identical to one used in an old diesel-powered Volkswagen Jetta. Components that cost tens of thousands of dollars through Bugatti could be sourced for a few hundred once you knew the actual part numbers. It undercut the notion that every component of Bugatti is a singular, hand-built work of art. The standoff escalated when Alex posted publicly, giving Bugatti a 24-hour deadline to lift the blacklist or watch them start 3D, printing replacement parts themselves, a direct challenge to a brand whose entire identity rests on exclusivity and being impossible to replicate. Bugatti's official line is that only 2 locations on Earth have the equipment needed to separate a Chiron's carbon fiber tub from its rear engine subframe: specialized hydraulic rigs and precision rails, according to the service documentation. Attempting it elsewhere, they claimed, would ruin the car. Matt wasn't convinced. Instead of expensive factory tooling, he and his father used a basic 2-post lift. Some scrap would have braced the massive W16 engine and gearbox, and improbably, the wheelbase of a plastic trash can. As they worked the bolts free, the moment of separation arrived. The wheels rolled, and the front half slid away from the rear almost effortlessly. It was a striking demonstration that punctured the mystique Bugatti had built around the car. Underneath the polish, the Chiron turned out to be a fundamentally modular machine, held together by just 14 primary titanium bolts. High-grade fasteners, certainly, but fasteners obeying ordinary mechanical principles all the same. With the car split open, Matt could finally see the damage clearly. The impact had crushed coolant lines and cracked an aluminum engine mount. Bugatti's proposed fix was a full replacement engine housing costing over $1 million, since they wouldn't sell the bracket on its own. Where the factory saw a write-off, Mat saw something a skilled welder might actually be able to fix. As the teardown continued, more evidence turned up that the hypercar world runs on more shared parts than most owners would guess. Numerous small sensors and clips traced back to Volkswagen Group part numbers also found in Audis and Bentleys. Unsurprising, given the shared ownership, but rarely acknowledged. The starter motor was the most striking find, identical to the one used in a diesel Volkswagen Passat, a car with a small fraction of the Chiron's price. That discovery chipped away further at the idea that every piece of the car is bespoke. Bugatti's markup, it seemed, often came down to branding rather than unique engineering, meaning many components could be sourced at ordinary parts stores for a tiny fraction of factory pricing. The cracked engine mount was the project's biggest obstacle. Bugatti maintained that this particular cast aluminum-magnesium alloy component couldn't be repaired. Official policy prohibited welding it, and the only sanctioned fix was replacing the entire engine and gearbox housing at a cost exceeding $1 million. The company warned the alloy simply wouldn't take a weld safely. Rather than accept that, Mat brought the part to a local machinist named Bob, who identified it as an A7/I7 type aluminum-magnesium alloy. The risk was real. Too much magnesium, and the metal could ignite or blister under a torch. Bob preheated the bracket evenly to prevent further cracking, then carefully TIG welded the fracture using a 4047 filler rod suited to complex castings. The repair held. The weld took cleanly, and Bob went further, adding reinforcing ribs, so the bracket came out stronger than the factory original. It was a meaningful moment for the right to repair argument, proof that even Bugatti's most guarded impossible component was, at its core, ordinary metal responding to ordinary metallurgy. Rather than sending lawyers, Bugatti CEO Mat Armstrong, an engineer who built his own EV hypercar company from scratch, reached out to the car's owner directly. His message wasn't a threat. It was a safety argument. A 1,500 horsepower machine capable of extreme speeds, he explained, has almost no margin for error, and homemade or 3D printed structural components could fail catastrophically under real-world stress and heat. As the build's popularity grew, the blacklist became a public relations liability for Bugatti, continuing to block the car risk making the company.